Hello, this is Take from Bigheadtaco.com, and I'm coming to you here from the area that I said I wouldn't hang out very much in, which is Central, but it's just kind of a unique area. Camera girl will do her panning here and show you this area. It's called Lock King Lane Sitting Out Area, and it's kind of a park-ish place in between like 25 buildings. And it's at like multi-level. You can hear the kids playing in the background. You see all the air conditioners. There's lots of sitting kind of area. So I actually like this spot. I would definitely hang out here. And I thought I would do a quick, not a review, a little bit of a review of, again, of the X100T in terms of more of setup and how one would set up a camera like this for street photography. So I already have my preview on my blog, and I did my quick review and the things that I like about it. One of the things that is good about the X100T over the S is the S had that weird little circular thingy, and that really didn't work well. This 4-way controller is not dedicated to any one feature, and so the way I like to set it up, Fuji does not. I still feel that they should have a dedicated ISO button, but since they don't, for myself, I'm not sure if you can see what goes on here, but for this 4-way controller, the first thing that I use for straight up is ISO right away. So that's the first access point, straight up, ISO. And then the second one is straight down, is white balance, okay? So to me, those two are the most important quick features. So even without looking, as you're shooting, without looking, you know right away, up, ISO, down, white balance. And then let's just see what I did with the light. Light is the different film simulations, which I like. Some might not like it, but I enjoy using it. And I actually really enjoy using the classic chrome. And then to the right, I'm using aspect ratio. Yeah, aspect ratio. APS-C size sensors is actually a 3:2 aspect ratio. That's one of the reasons why I really like APS-C size, which is it mimics the same aspect ratio as a full frame, which is a 3:2, which is 24:36 millimeters with a 35 mil diagonal distance. The Micro Four Thirds is a 4:3, and that is the same as a smaller 1/1.7 inch sensors. I don't like 4:3. It's so close to square. I would rather just shoot square. So for me, 1:1 aspect ratio, 3:2, and even 16:9 I actually like visually. And now I'm starting to even like the cinematic, the 22:16. Is that what it is? 22 or 23? 22:9 and 23:9 cinematic aspect ratio. So anyway, so that's my setting for the 4-way. I like the Wi-Fi. You can use this as any function, but Wi-Fi is a great feature to be able to transfer your images quickly to post to social media, so I like keeping that. The function button up here, I don't even know what I did here. You know what? I just left it. I hate this button, actually. I accidentally press it often and start doing video recording. So, actually, camera girl, are we too close? I think maybe this is a good distance because it's kind of, there's a lot of ambient noise. It's good? Okay, all right, so we'll keep this distance. So I don't even use that. So that's the way I use the 4-way. And I mentioned in my other video, if you shoot street and you prefer using the EVF or the OVF, put the view mode to the OVF like this. So when it falls asleep, which Fuji, like most brands, when it sleeps, it takes longer to start back up again. It's better to just turn it off and turn it back on again. It's quicker and you're ready to shoot. So if you like to shoot the OVF in street photography, just leave it in that mode. Don't have it the eye sensor switching because there's a bit of that lag there. I've actually been finding that because Hong Kong is such a compressed, everything is tight here, that when you put the camera to your eye, people immediately kind of react to you shooting at them. So it seems kind of not professional, but when I have it in LCD mode, I find that Eric Kim taught this when I audited his workshop. Hey Eric, great workshop, thank you for inviting me. But when you sort of pan and you make it look like you're video recording, I find that when it's really tight and you want to get a good shot and you see something further down, and as you approach it, I find that it's actually conducive to leave it in this and look like a tourist. Look like a tourist. You're just kind of walking, you're kind of wandering, you're kind of meandering, and then as you pass by, then bang, you take the shot. So when it's close quarters, that's the way I like shooting it, in LCD mode. It's much quicker. Other than that, I do like using the optical viewfinder, as I've mentioned before. That's a great feature. Now, I had a question from someone who mentioned about why the advantage of having third stops, and I kind of did a really lengthy comment, and let me kind of reiterate, I don't have anything against third stops in general. DSLRs, SLRs, third stops are great. I just feel that a camera like this, the X100T, most people that are buying it they like the optical viewfinder. They're probably Leica fans. They love film cameras, and this is probably the closest they can get to a rangefinder style film camera, but in the digital realm that is affordable. And when they shoot that style, a lot of Leica lenses are in half stops, and the shutter speeds, I think the newer ones are in half stops, but the older ones are always full stop shutter speeds. And the beauty of that is, when you're shooting out on the street, you're always aware of your light level. So let's say you always shoot at ISO 400, you always shoot at ISO 800, and let's say you're at a specific shutter speed, let's say at 1/500th of a second, and you're on the street, so you're shooting at f8, and there's enough light, so 1/500th of a second, f8, and all of a sudden, you lose about a stop of light, or let's say 2 stops of light. So let's say you go into a bit of a shady area, and you know from experience that you dropped about 2 stops. Well, with half or full stops, this says half stops, you know to drop by 2 EV, or 2 stops, you move it 4 spaces, you go 1, 2, 3, 4, okay? Now if it's full stops, you just move it twice, you go click, click, and you drop 2 stops to compensate for the drop in light level. But you know, in third stops, if you drop 2 stops, that's 6 clicks. Now, shooting blind, meaning shooting by feel, let's say your eyes are here, and you just want to quickly drop 2 spots. In third stops, that's 6 clicks. And you know what? I lose count probably after about 3 or 4 clicks. And there's a mismatch, because this is in third stops, up here is in full stops. Of course, you can use this rear dial to get the in-between 2/3 of a stop above and below whatever you see there. So let's just say you're again here at ISO 500. Let's move this to LCD mode. I feel like I'm rambling just a little bit, but okay. So we're at shutter speed 500th of a second. Okay, you probably can't even see that. Actually, let's change the view mode here. Let's go to big view. So we're at 500th of a second. Now full stop up is 1/1000th, right? But with this dial, you can get 1/640th and 1/800th, and now it won't let you go up any further, because the next third stop up is 1/1000th. So here we go. Now you can go all the in between, 1/1250th, 1600th, and again the next one is 2000th. So this does allow you to get third stops with this rear dial, which is actually a really cool implementation of those who like to shoot old school style full stops shutter speeds, or those that want more accurate. So for me, I would use third stops more likely in shutter speed third stops, because you're stuck at a certain aperture. You want to shoot f8 because you want a specific depth of field, and you're about 2/3 of a stop over or under exposure. It's nice with a tweak a little bit, but I've never heard of someone insisting that they want to shoot at f6.7 or f9.5. They insist that they're 1/3 stop below f11. So that's why I meant by not liking the third stop. I'm not against it. I guess really, if you want to, if you physically look, it is written down in full stop. So you can ignore the clicks and just jump from 11 to 8, jump to 4, jump to 2, right? So I guess I'm a bit of a whiner. So everybody be complaining? Yes, you know what? I'm gonna complain a little bit. I wish it remained half stop, because when I shoot Leica, I like that I know in the top of my head, apertures in half stops, shutter speeds on top is full stops, and then if you wanted to, you can get the in-between in the rear dial. I mean, really, if there was a compromise, maybe they could put a front dial here and get third stop increments in between the full stops for the aperture. So that's another little tip. Also, remember the exposure compensation is also in third stop. So if you are at an aperture, let's say you are in shutter priority, and the camera's picking your aperture for you, so you go into A mode, you're in shutter priority, you can still use this in terms of adjusting the exposure based on the camera things in third stops. So that's another sort of workaround. So those are the little things that I think will help those of us that are street photographers. Another one is keeping the camera in manual mode. I've mentioned this on other cameras. If you put this in manual mode, if you hit the auto AFL, AEL button, it actually does autofocus for you. Let's just change the view mode here. No, sorry, not view mode. Let's change the display mode. So LCD only. Okay, here we go. So if you hit this button, it always autofocuses. And the beauty of that is, if you know the distance of your subjects, let's say there's cars or people walking past, and you pre-focus by just pressing this button. Now, as soon as you press the button, your shutter button, there's no lag. It shoots immediately. Okay. So, and also get rid of the preview mode. That's not good. So I would recommend put it in manual mode and press this to autofocus. You could also see the distance down there, and you can see the depth of field, how much you're getting, and then that way you don't have any lag where the autofocus is going zip, 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 zip like that. So that's another tip. Another final tip for street photography, the X100. There's many tips I wish I can give, but the sort of things that I figured out the quickest way of shooting with this is well, I mentioned it before, is, you know, having the drive mode here is nice, so you can quickly switch to different bracketing styles. I like actually film simulation bracketing, but it's a very quick way of changing. Q button, you know, now with the X100T and same with the X30, you can change these to whichever you want and move them around as well. So the ones that you use the most have that ready. So this is a very fast shooting camera. If you have the X100S, is it worth the upgrade? I say yes, because you probably are shooting the X100 series because you love optical viewfinders. And this, the hybrid with the built-in mini EVF, really makes it easy. One of the things I didn't mention in my other review was that little window, you wonder, well, where does the camera decide what it's focusing on? By default, it picks the center focusing point. But the cool thing about it is you can actually shift the focusing point. Now I should have checked this out before I started shooting this, and I didn't, so this is bad. But there's a mode here, which is in here somewhere, where you can choose the focus point. Well, once you shift that focusing point around, it actually moves inside that little mini EVF. So let's just say you typically shoot something in the top left or top bottom or center, but center bottom. Well, you can actually shift that focusing point to the exact point that you want it. So that's another cool feature that you can use, and you can do that even while you're in the optical viewfinder mode with the hybrid view. So that's another little trick that you can use while you're shooting on the street. So again, I'm coming here from Central Lock Ping Lane sitting out area, hanging out with Camera Girl. Thank you so much for taking up letting me use up your coffee drinking time to shoot this video. I'm going to try to do 1 or 2 more videos before I leave, but overall I see this T camera is a home run. Get the filter with the lens hood. It just looks sexy and cool. Get that little EF X20 flash unit, and get that cable too if you want to do sort of an off-camera flash shooting, and get a cool half case. I think that's kind of a cool thing to get as well. And as I mentioned, I enjoy shooting with this around my neck because it's always ready for you to grab and shoot, and it's really light too. It's a really light camera. So that's it for this video. Thank you again for watching. Stay tuned for more videos coming to you from Hong Kong. Happy shooting. Click, click.